Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Audrey Crosto from Corporate Communications with the Peel Regional Police. I'd like to ask everyone to please stand for the land acknowledgement. We would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we are gathered today is part of the treaty lands and the territory of the Mississauga of the Credit First Nation. For thousands of years, Indigenous peoples have inhabited and cared for this land and continue to do so today. In particular, we acknowledge the territory of the Anishinaabeg, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and the Ojibwe and the Chippewa peoples. We are grateful to them and all the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples who have walked before us and the present generations for whom this land continues to be home. We celebrate their vast contributions they have made and they continue to make to Canada. You may now be seated. Today's an exciting day as we announce the launch of our Way Forward, Peel Regional Police's strategy to operationalize community safety and well-being within our Peel Police Service and within our region. Today, we are joined by Chief Nishan Duraiappah, Peel Region Commissioner of Health Services, Nancy Polsinelli, Deputy Chief Mark Dapat, Manager of Community Safety and Wellbeing, John Versluis, Teresa Burgess, Executive Director from Safe City, Mississauga, Mary Pagani from Partnerships and Operations at the Peel Addiction Assessment and Referral Center, and we are also thankful to have Deputy Mayor of Brampton, Martin Medeiros, and Chair of Peel Region, Nando Yanika, who are joining us today. There will be an opportunity for questions at the end of our conference. We thank you for being here today. I will now call on Chief Duraiappah to deliver his remarks.
Thank you and good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to have people here and for me to have the opportunity to welcome all of you here to the launch of Peel Regional Police. This is our Way Forward, which is our community safety and well-being strategy for our police organization. This is a significant milestone because it doesn't exist in policing to this extent. And I want to first say it's an honor, first of all, to have so many members of our community here, our community partners, elected officials, and our own membership, which is a reflection of our commitment here. Today's event is really not just our response of how we're going to integrate this planning strategy, which soon John Versluis is going to speak to you about, how we're going to implement this planning strategy as a new way, a transformational way of looking at policing. But it's also our recognition that we need to make commitments and steps, just as our community has said for the last several years, on a way to do policing better. And this is our way of launching that. By naming it Our Way Forward, our strategy is actually going to be a blueprint of how within policing we're going to transform our way of being our aspirational statement of not only being a good community partner, but as being the most progressive, innovative, and inclusive police agency in Canada, if not beyond. This strategy is a testament to our commitment to collaborate with hardworking groups that are here before us, our dedicated people within the organization that have brought us this way. And you'll soon see a slide on the screen which I think will have the backdrop of community safety well-being. Maybe it's going to come now, but if it doesn't, we will soon see it shortly when John gets up to speak. The number of factors that have caused us to be here is, first of all, our recognition that on a day-to-day basis, our police officers and civilians deal with increasingly complex issues that go beyond the bounds of traditional policing. Calls for service that include mental health, precarious housing, homelessness, addiction, and all the underlying needs are the reality of what our officers in Peel face on a day-to-day basis. In 2021 alone, our officers spent 41,000 hours on mental health calls for service. We attended over 850 overdose events in the community. We had an estimated 4,700 contacts with people who were homelessness or identified themselves as not having a fixed address. Our way forward is a way to help find identifying root causes for these calls for service and ensure that people get the right service at the right time when they need it the most. And let me first say, we are still, along with our first responders and paramedics and fire, the ones that need to go to crisis and emergencies. We will always have that role. But this strategy is about finding a way to egress out of the spaces that perhaps we're not always the most appropriately the ones to respond to, and where there are community agencies partners that are more appropriately responded to. This focus and the shift from traditional policing to mitigating risk and improving the safety and well-being of our community here in Peel Region is now the number one priority. As many of you in the room know, the framework of community safety well-being, which we call CSWB, I wish it was easier to say, is the cornerstone of a provincial mandate as well, that municipalities establish community safety well-being plans with their partners in health, social services, education, not-for-profit, and the policing sectors. And for that, we are extremely proud here in Peel Region that we have a Peel Region Community Safety Wellbeing Plan that brings many of you that are here today as stakeholders that are integral role in supporting that strategy. But what today's announcement means is we, as one of the partners, are going one step further and ensuring that our residents know that we're committed to fulfilling this mandate as a police service. It means that we're adopting a more balanced approach on how we achieve public safety in this community, which is recognizing that our communities are best served when we bring other people alongside of us in a coordinated and integrated manner. You'll know that as a police agency, we are committed to changing the outcomes here, and that means being more thoughtful and being upstream. The last thing I want to tell you and assure you that this is not just one event, it's not one document. Our way forward is our commitment to a living document that's intended to receive information from the public, be informed by the public we serve, be sensitive to the changing needs, and also evolve alongside of them. I can't thank you all enough for being here on this milestone day. These are important steps forward for Peel Regional Police. It's now my pleasure to introduce Deputy Chief Mark Dapat for his comments. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you, Chief Duraiappah, and good afternoon, everyone. It is an honor to be here with you to share the community safety and well-being journey that we have been on for the past 2 years. While I want to acknowledge that community safety and well-being concepts and principles are taking root within all areas of our organization, I would first like to highlight several concerted efforts within the Community Safety and Wellbeing Services Bureau that are strengthening the way we serve our communities. First, I'd like to speak about our divisional mobilization units, or as we like to refer to it as the DMU. DMU was launched in 2021 due to the sheer volume of calls that we attend that are a direct result of underlying needs that transcend the traditional role of police and often result in repeat or ongoing calls for service. DMU officers reverse this narrative by following up on these calls where there is a need for community supports or alternatives to a criminal justice response. We recently shared a story where DMU officers worked with several community partners to assist an individual that was experiencing homelessness, access to services, acquiring shelter, and re-entering the labor force. This individual, who had been the subject of multiple calls for service, is now off the streets, living a more fulfilling life with no further calls to police. I would also like to highlight the work of our mobile crisis rapid response teams, often referred to as MCERT, which is a partnership with the Canadian Mental Health Association of Peel Dufferin that began as a pilot project in 2020 and was expanded in 2021. MCERT pairs a community-based crisis worker and a police officer with enhanced mental health training to respond to calls for service where there is an acute mental health or addiction crisis. In addition to getting people the help that they need when they need it the most, MCERT has reduced the number of times that officers are required to apprehend an individual under the Mental Health Act, decreasing the demand on our overstretched healthcare system. Finally, there is the development of the Regional Situation Table, a collaboration of nearly 50 community partners that meet each week to bring forward situations where there are individuals at an acutely elevated risk of harm or victimization. When a situation meets the threshold of acutely elevated risk, the community partners that are best positioned to respond, develop a plan of action, or to provide wraparound supports to further prevent harm. Throughout 2021, the Regional Situation Table partners brought forward nearly 80 situations of acutely elevated risk. I know that there are several representatives from the Situation Table that have joined us today, and I want to thank you for your commitment to this incredibly important work to support the safety and well-being of our communities. These and many other initiatives that are planned or are already underway have established a foundation from which we continue to build as we launch our way forward and take our next steps to put community safety and well-being at the forefront of how we serve our communities. I would now like to introduce John Versluis, our Manager of Community Safety and Well-being, to provide an overview of the strategy and our next steps.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Dapat, and hello everyone here today and watching on the live stream. It is my pleasure to provide you with an overview of our way forward. As Chief Duraiappah noted in his remarks, the strategy is guided by 4 areas within the Provincial Community Safety and Wellbeing Planning Framework that we and many other organizations have adopted as part of the Regional Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan. And you'll see the framework over here on the screen, and it's based on 4 areas of incident response, risk intervention, prevention, and social development, and I'll walk you through those momentarily. For our service, the strategy formalizes a commitment to apply the framework as a lens to how we address issues that impact the safety and well-being of our communities and guide how we deliver services now and into the future. Within these 4 areas, our way forward outlines a number of guiding principles, initial priorities for action, and key performance indicators that will shape how we move from strategy to implementation. The first area of focus is incident response, which is the red zone of the framework, which is where we spend the majority of our time and resource responding to calls for service, supporting victims, and investigating crime to keep our community safe. I want to reiterate the Chief's comments that the delivery of exemplary frontline policing investigative services will always be the top priority of our service. But as we've already highlighted this afternoon, many of the situations that officers attend are the result of complex social issues that cannot be resolved through an arrest or in a traditional approach to service delivery. Our goal is to identify the root causes that generate these calls for service and put people on a pathway to get the support they need. This will include steps to equip our members with tools, knowledge, and resources to provide information and referral to community supports when responding to non-critical incidents. We will also continue to seek opportunities to integrate community partners and how we respond to calls for service that require timely access to social service professionals. This will include a pilot that is being developed in collaboration with our partners at the Safe Centre of Peel to respond to verbal domestic events. The initiative will pair an officer with a social service worker to provide immediate supports and reduce the likelihood of a more serious occurrence in the future. The next area of the strategy focuses on risk intervention, which is about addressing situations where there is an elevated risk of crime, victimization, or other harms to prevent a situation from boiling over into a crisis or requiring an urgent call for assistance. Several of the actions that we are already taking in this area of the strategy were highlighted by Deputy Chief Dapat. This includes our continued partnership with the Peel Situation Table and the ongoing work of the Divisional Mobilization Unit, both of which are contributing to better outcomes for the people we serve and seeking to reduce the number of times that officers are asked to intervene in situations that can be better resolved outside of a police response. In addition to these newly established activities, we have moved forward with the development of community safety and well-being hubs within each of our divisions. These hubs bring together frontline officers, investigators, mobilization teams, and others to identify and address community safety and well-being issues that require a coordinated approach. Hubs will also provide a mechanism to work with community stakeholders on local safety and well-being concerns. In the prevention area of the framework, which is the blue component, our goal is to get further ahead of the issues that impact the safety and well-being of the individuals and communities we serve. This will include the development of strategies to address the service's CSWB priorities in the areas of mental health and addiction, priority populations, road safety, and violent crime. And I'll briefly note that we have a head start on this commitment with the launch of the Peel Regional Police Mental Health and Addiction Strategy late last year in coordination with nearly 20 community partners. Finally, the area of social development is about moving further upstream through efforts that build resiliency and promote and maintain the safety and well-being of the community. Key objectives in this area of the strategy include strengthening how we engage with and support youth, exploring how we can work with our partners to expand upon integrated models of service delivery, and seeking opportunities to advocate for the resources that our partners need to respond to Peel's growing and diverse community needs. Finally, I would like to highlight that our way forward is guided by several key success factors to shape how we deliver on the goals and objectives of the strategy. This includes strengthening our capacity to operate in a way that is data-driven and evidence-based, building effective partnerships at every turn, and adopting practices that are culturally responsive, equitable, and inclusive. And I'll point out that this includes our commitment to work with the Ontario Human Rights Commission to promote and uphold the human rights of everyone we serve. In keeping with the importance of partnerships, the strategy highlights a number of examples of how we collaborate in each area of the community safety and well-being framework. And you'll see that there are a number of those collaborations noted up here and further expanded upon in the strategy. On behalf of Peel Regional Police, I would like to thank the many partners highlighted here and the many others that are too numerous to name for your part to contribute to the safety and well-being of Peel. I will end my remarks here and call upon several of our partners to say a few words about how we work to strengthen safety and well-being in Peel. First to the podium is Nancy Polsinelli, Commissioner of Health Services at Peel Region and the region's executive lead on the Peel Community Safety and Well-being Plan, to comment on how this strategy fits with broader safety and well-being planning efforts in the region. Nancy will be followed by Teresa Burgess-Ogilvie, Executive Director of Safe City Mississauga, and Mary Pagani, Manager of Programs and Partnerships and Operations at the Peel Addiction Assessment and Referral Center, to share some reflections on the plan and how we collaborate to achieve a safer community together. Thank you.
Thank you, John, and hello, everyone. So it has been absolutely rewarding and a productive experience to co-chair Peel Region's Community Safety Wellbeing Plan with Chief Duraiappah. We've had the opportunity to listen, to learn, to amplify, and then to act on our community's voices. Thank you for your commitment and the commitment of Peel Regional Police to the process and for ensuring the vital role of police is also reflected in these discussions about community safety and well-being. Peel police officers dedicate their professional lives to protecting the community and being there when people need help. When we inform that work with community input, we are enabling their compassion and their professionalism to improve our community's safety and well-being. Our way forward is described as a living document, one that will continue to evolve through ongoing engagement with police officers, with our partners, and most importantly, with our communities. This collaborative spirit is the way forward for all of us. So when we look at Peel Region's Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan, we know that it isn't a quick fix. None of this is a quick fix. We are trying to move upstream and invest in the social development that not only prevents crime, but maximizes the human potential of people in our community from all backgrounds. The plan, the Peel Regions Plan, is the product of people in Peel telling us their life experiences, their concerns, their hopes for their young people, and their vision of what this community can be. And the foundation for this whole effort is that implementation is and will continue to be a shared responsibility amongst us all. So I am very pleased that members of Peel's Community Safety Wellbeing Plan Extended Executive Leadership Team are here with us today, as well as all the other participants and partners that we work with in order to create this living document. For Peel's Community Safety Wellbeing Plan, there are three areas of focus in this plan: family violence, mental health and addictions, and systemic discrimination. These action tables are made up of diverse community partners, all of which have the same goal. They're all dedicated to ensure that we drive progress forward in the region of Peel. So municipalities across Ontario are mandated to do this work. We heard this from Chief Duraiappah. But in Peel, our community has gone above and beyond. We embrace this work every day. And we actually sustained progress of Peel's Community Safety Wellbeing Plan even during the pandemic. In fact, I really do believe that the challenges and inequities experienced by people in Peel during the pandemic were a motivation for our three action tables and all our partners to keep moving forward and keep moving forward together. So the launch of the strategy by Peel Regional Police will help to keep up that momentum of progress. So on behalf of the region of Peel, thank you to Chief Duraiappah and to everyone who dedicates their time and their thought towards this effort. The lessons learned as you integrate our way forward into Peel operations will offer valuable insight as we continue implementing Peel Region's Community Safety Wellbeing Plan. And the title is right, it's perfect. This is our way forward, all of us in Peel, in building a safer and healthier community together. Thank you.
Thank you for those very thoughtful remarks, Nancy. I'd now like to call to the podium Teresa Burgess-Ogilvie, Executive Director of Safe City Mississauga.
Hello, everyone. It takes both community crime prevention and policing crime prevention. Just let that sink in for a second. Community crime prevention and policing crime prevention to work together, to have the capacity to reach the most people and address more place-based issues. We can do more together, as Nancy said, than either of us can ever do alone. Having a data sharing agreement to support effective, collaborative crime prevention programming, both police and community, has been a game changer. Until the MOU was signed, which it's not up there on the screen now, but it was, Safe City Mississauga had to look at historical data, sometimes over a year old, to make assumptions about place-based crime. As a result of the MOU, Safe City Mississauga, a nonprofit charity, can be more proactive by prioritizing real time where we need to be to address current issues with the appropriate community prevention strategies. We engage the people in those communities and show them what they can do to improve their safety and well-being. Safe City Mississauga has served Mississauga for 30 years, and it continues to be one of the largest, safest cities in Canada. That's not an accident. Peel Regional Police, Region of Peel, City of Mississauga, Safe City Mississauga, we've all been working hard to keep it that way through program collaboration on programs like Neighborhood Watch, Business Watch, and our new School Watch program. The data sharing agreement is just one additional way that we are improving upon our partnership and collaboration. Our way forward is a proactive approach to working smarter, partnering on upstream issues to improve community safety and well-being long-term. Community safety and well-being of any city is the individual responsibility of everyone living, learning, working, or playing in that city. But individuals cannot do it alone either. The key has always been to find our way forward together. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, JD.
Thank you for those great remarks. For our last speaker of the agenda, I would like to call on Mary Pagani, Manager of Programs, Partnerships, and Operations at the Peel Addiction Assessment Referral Center.
Good afternoon. Park is excited to be here to be able to share a few words about the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan. Park and the Peel Regional Police have been in partnership for many, many years, but today is a special day to us because today we're able to share about a plan that truly articulates and formalizes our converging efforts. Park has dedicated its work for debunking the myths and the misconceptions about addiction and bringing it to the forefront where we can effectively address it. The shame and the blatant stigma that surrounds addictions are equally as harmful as the worst effects of addiction. When we keep quiet about addictions and we relegate them to the shadow, our community suffers. It is no longer passable to equate substance use to weak-mindedness or to assume that those who suffer because of their lack of willpower or their desire to change. The Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan changes the narrative about addictions. It outlines a way forward. The partnership we have with Peel Regional Police is built on respect, trust, and a shared philosophy about the dignity and the worth of the people that we serve. With this strong foundation, Park and Peel Regional Police has been able to strengthen our partnership with formal agreements and informal relationships. Today, I want to highlight the partnership between Peel Regional Police Road Safety Division and Park. At the heart of this partnership is our collective desire to make a meaningful difference, and from Park's perspective, that is a huge win. The devastating and rippling effect of impaired driving has on the community, it is unquantifiable. And regrettably, those who drive impaired often do so on more than one occasion. According to a study from MAD Canada, on average, people will drive impaired 80+ times before they're caught. Instituting a pathway between Peel Regional Police and Park to expedite referrals and subsequent treatment is absolutely critical. Peel Regional Police vision to be proactive, collaborative, and focused on preventing and mitigating risks to enhance the safety and well-being of our communities has been put into action. The approach that officers take when dealing with impaired drivers has moved beyond just laying charges. It's now there's a recognition that the impacts of impaired driving is a symptom of a much bigger problem, and it requires a therapeutic intervention as well. The objective of our partnership is to mitigate future risk through reductions in recidivism. The impacts of impaired driving on the community is catastrophic. So it is in that spirit that we have constructed a rock-solid pathway that directly leads people to the help and to the support needed to overcome addiction and prevent future harms. Because of this partnership, impaired drivers are offered a referral to addiction counseling services at the roadside. And with their consent, the police officer will pass along their contact information to a designate at Park, who will then triage it through the counselors. On most occasions, we're able to call the client on the same day or the very next business day. To date, we have received over 50 referrals. And while not everyone chooses to engage with us at the time that we call, we capitalize on the opportunity to plant a seed. At a minimum, we hope to give people a warm and welcoming introduction to treatment services and to assuage some of the worries and some of the anxieties people often experience when considering calling for help. Our approach acknowledges that the germination of a planted seed doesn't always happen immediately, but when that seed takes root, clients will feel comfortable and they'll feel confident that they can make a phone call to treatment services and they'll be met with dignity and respect. We are at the precipice of change, and the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan truly reflects this. So I will leave you with this. Humanity is our ultimate community, and everyone plays a role. Thank you to Peel Regional Police and to the Chief for your steadfast commitment to making a meaningful difference in our community.
First of all, thank you, Nancy, Teresa, and Mary, for your comments and your continued partnership. I know John mentioned it earlier. By the way, we joke John is our Ben Affleck. He kind of looks like a Ben Affleck lookalike. But John highlighted there's so many more partners here that we didn't have the time to, so I want to thank you for that. Today is about formalizing this transformational approach that Peel Regional Police is taking, and that's our commitment to our partners to ensure that we strengthen the safety net, get upstream, look at systems coordination, get to people where they need us the most, and improve the well-being of this community. As we move forward in operationalizing this, we are fully committed to continued partnership and commitment to all of you as well. This is our way of embodying that commitment as we achieve a safer community together. So with that, I want to thank everybody for attending today, and we will now move on to the question portion of the event. Are there any questions? And they could come from our community members, and I know we have a couple of media outlets here too. If there's anything we can answer, either myself or the team would be happy to respond. Do want to highlight that this is being live streamed. The plan is available on our website, and there are hard copies at the back too. Not seeing any. I think with that we'll wrap up. And again, thank everybody. There's some refreshments at the back, and the team will be here should there be any questions. I'm wondering if there's an opportunity for the partners that are comfortable with it to come forward and we can get a group photo. That'd be great. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great afternoon.